Welcome back and welcome to my July TBR. I am sorry that this is late, but as I said in my previous video, I was away and I didn't want to film this while I was away. I wanted to come back and film it properly. I am posting my July TBR blog post on the same day as I'm uploading this video, which is exactly 1 week into July. And there are some more details about other books I might want to read. I'm not going to talk through them all here. And some more details about readathons I will be taking part in that blog post. So I will link that below. My blog and my social media and everything is always linked in the description box below. So you can find out more information about everything there and follow what I'm currently reading as well. So as always, I will split this into July releases and other books that I want to read. So on the 11th of July we have Hello Sunshine by Laura Dave coming out. I tentatively put that onto my TBR for last month, but it's going to end up being this month. This comes out on Tuesday, so I'm going to be reading that this weekend, and I'm looking forward to reading this one. This is a women's fiction novel, and it just looks nice and bright and summery, and it's quite a short read as well. It is about 230 pages, so this is going to be my weekend reading this weekend. And then all the other books that I have that are kind of July releases are on my Kindle because they're all from NetGalley, so I've got my little list of them here, so I'm going to tell you what order I'll be reading them in. So there's one that I have already started that comes out on the 13th of July, and that is The Summer of Serendipity by Ali McNamara. I am just over halfway through this one. I read this one on my flight home, and so I will be finishing that one possibly this weekend as well. And then also on the 13th of July we have Together by Julie Cohen being published. And that I am very excited about reading that one. I don't know why I forgot the word published then. And also on the 13th of July by Heidi Swain we have Coming Home to Cuckoo Cottage. My lovely guest reviewing mum has read and reviewed that one, so there will be a review of that one on the blog on Wednesday, ready for release day on Thursday. And then on the 18th of July, a new one from Bridget Cody, Persuading Austin. This one looks really intriguing, and I haven't actually sat down and read a Bridget Cody novel. I love following her Twitter and her Instagram, and we share a pair of boots, but I'm looking forward to reading that one, and that one's out on the 18th of July. The first novel that I mentioned, that was a US publication date, and everything else that I've mentioned so far are UK publication dates. I'm sorry I don't always know both publication dates, and sometimes they're hard to find. Sometimes it's basically like it comes out in the US on the Tuesday and it comes out in the UK on the Thursday, but sometimes they come out on the same day, and sometimes they have very different release dates. So I'll always mention which country I'm talking about because I kind of read books that are released at times in those countries. Ugh. It's difficult being a former UK book blogger and then becoming a US book blogger. It is difficult. Then on the 27th of July, major publication date, we have Chasing the Sun by Katie Collins published. I'm really looking forward to reading this one because I haven't read any of her travel books, travel women's fiction novels, and I think Chasing the Sun is a standalone rather than being kind of part of that series, so it'll be nice to be able to read that one as standalone. And then also on the 27th of July, the new one from Lisa Jewell is out, and that is Then She Was Gone. And I am so excited about reading this one. I have a couple of readathons coming up, and I want to read that one during one of those because I know it's going to be a book that I'll sit down and just want to read from start to finish, because I kind of did that with her last 2 or 3 novels because she writes such good kind of page turning suspense. I did mention her previous novel in a previous video, so if you want to go back and find out about that one. And also on the 27th of July, Killer Affair by Rebecca Chance is released, and I'm looking forward to reading that one. I love reading her kind of she's kind of in that bonkbuster genre. She writes books with just a good amount of good sex scenes in them, and also a lot of glamour and a lot of excitement. So if you're a fan of like Jackie Collins, or now I'm trying to think of any other people from that kind of genre, but anyway, I'm looking forward to reading Killer Affair. If I like it, then hopefully I'll make a video about it for you, because this will be the 4th or 5th book of hers that I've read over the summer, so looking forward to that one. And then also by another author that I've read amazing things by, Melissa Pimentel, Jenny Sparrow Knows the Future. I haven't even read the blurb of this one. I saw it on NetGalley. I was like, I love this author, I'm definitely going to pick it up. So that's my NetGalley July releases that I'll be reading on my Kindle. And then, as if that wasn't enough, I've got some other sort of recent releases. I've got a couple that have been sent, a couple that I've bought, and a couple that I've got from the library, that I would really like to read. These aren't as sort of high priority as the other books, because obviously they're July releases, but we'll see how many of these we can get to. As I say, there are a couple of readathons in July, so fingers crossed I get to read some. So you saw me mention this one when I was sent Hello Sunshine. I was also sent A Stitch of Time by Lauren Marks. This one kind of sat on my TBR last month tentatively, and it's sitting there tentatively this time as well. I was also sent by Simon & Schuster UK Chase the Rainbow, and as I sort of said, this one just looks beautiful. I think it's going to be a sad read, but it might be one that I'd like to sit down and read kind of all at once, maybe set myself a nice sort of evening up with reading this one. And then a couple that I bought, which you will see in my upcoming book hauls, to get like a little preview here. You'll have seen these on my Instagram and Twitter as well. And this one is The Rise and Reign of the Unruly Woman, but is the kind of subtitle, and it is Too Fat, Too Slutty, Too Loud by Anne Helen Peterson. This author was at an event at Strand Bookstore in New York just before I was going to New York, and I was gutted to miss out on going to the event, but I was hoping, and I was lucky enough to find that they did have a signed copy. I don't know why I'm covering, because my bookmark's falling out. The signed copy there, I've stuck that sticker there, it was on the front. And so I picked this one up, and I would really like to read this one. This is like lots of different essays from different people who kind of fit into these categories, so I'd like to read that one. And then I had a bit of an impulse buy here, another recent release. I was browsing in Barnes & Noble. I didn't buy it there, I bought it in Strand. And this one is Note to Self by Connor Franta. And this is, as you can kind of see from the cover, it's a little bit like kind of a book of kind of Instagram. It's like little diary snippets, and there are photos in there, and like just different things. And I sort of picked it up and had a flick through it, and I was like, yes, I think I want to read this one. And then when I was in the Strand, I saw, I mean, if you've seen these papers, I saw that they had a signed copy as well. So I snapped this one up, because this is going to be one of those books that is so beautiful to look at. It's definitely going to stay on the shelf. And then to library books, recent releases that I had on hold and came available on hold, which is very exciting. So I will need to try and read them this month, because I keep getting books out of the library and then forgetting to read them, or not getting to read them quick enough, and so I find myself in a situation where I'm like in the library trying to finish off the last few pages before I have to give it back. I mean, thankfully they close at 9, but then if I returned my book at 9, it wouldn't necessarily be processed until the next day, and then I might get a fine. I don't know. Anyway, and the first one of these is Raw by Cora Carmack. I read her Losing It series. I haven't read her other series, but this is a new series from her, and it's kind of fantasy series, and so I was really intrigued because I loved her Losing It series, and I was lucky enough to meet her, and she was amazing, and so I knew I wanted to kind of check out her new one, even though it's fantasy, and just see, you know, if I like it or not. And that came out, I think, a couple of weeks ago. And then one that I am partway through right now, and that is Touch by Courtney Malm. This is about a trend forecaster and kind of her relationship with technology and her other relationships, and it's really interesting so far, and I'm really enjoying it. So I think I'm going to finish this one today, so hopefully by the time the video goes up, I will have finished this one. And then another one which I was on the wait list for ages, and I finally got it, and that's Into the Water by Paula Hawkins. I almost downloaded this one on audiobook when it first came out because I did have an Audible credit, but I read The Girl on the Train in physical book form, and oh, did I read it in Kindle? I might have done kind of half Kindle, half physical book. So I had a NetGalley copy of it, and then I went to a signing, so I got a physical copy of it. So I knew that I wanted to read this book as an actual book and not an audiobook, because I think once you start in one kind of format with one author, then it helps to kind of stick in that format with them. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I'm definitely going to, again, sit down and hopefully read this one in one sitting, because that's how I read Girl on Train, because it was just so suspenseful. And then another one which I had on hold for a while, and it's a bit different from all the other books, and this came out in May, I think, either April or May. And that is There Is No Effing Secret by Kelly Osbourne, and I knew I would be sort of intrigued to read this one, so I had this one on hold and it just became available, so this has gone on my July TBR as well. So I have talked about a lot of books there, but I have managed to read, as I say, half of Summer of Serendipity, almost half of Touch, and I've listened to 2 other audiobooks, which if you want to find out what they were, you can check in my blog post, because it's just hard to talk about audiobooks when you don't have them. At least with my ebooks, I've got my Kindle here, whereas I listen to my audiobooks on my phone, which is what I'm filming on, so I can't show you those unless I already have the physical book. But yeah, quite an ambitious TBR, but there are a couple of readathons coming up, and I'm not kind of planning on, I haven't got any sort of major trips or events that will get in the way planned, apart from the one at the start of the month, so hopefully I should get some good reading done this month. I'm really excited to read all of the new releases, and I've been really excited to read them for a while, so hopefully that'll help me storm through those ones, because they're by some of my very favourite authors, and then the pressure of having to take the library books back I find always helps. So there is my July TBR. My blog post will be linked below, so you can see a couple of others I may have thrown on there on a whim, and the audiobooks that I talk about, and my social media, as I say, is always linked below, so come and give me a follow on there to find out what I'm reading when. I always share my reading updates on Snapchat and Instagram, and those go on to Twitter as well, so it's all on there. I will have another video, a little book haul video for you, and I've got another book versus film comparison video coming up next week, so I will see you with those then. Thank you for watching. Bye.